As Ernest Hemingway said, there is no friend as loyal as a book. So this Sunday, I'm joining you with my friend Anne O'Neill, who is going to suggest to you some amazing winter reads to keep you company. Anne.
Okay, here we are on the Kerry Riviera. Move over the Côte d'Azur. It's a little bit chilly, but it's beautiful. So I started this year in January. My first book that I read and I reviewed it for The Independent was one of my favourite authors of all time, Jennifer Egan's book called The Candy House. And it's an amazing read. I think you'd love it too. She's very much, she's Generation X, so she's kind of my own age, so she's lived both through the kind of analog era and the digital era. So this book is very, very much about, technology, the internet, how much, privacy we've lost. So it's all based on a character called Bix, who's a big techpreneur, kind of like a Zuckerberg character. So we meet him initially stalking along the streets of New York, and he's kind of run out of ideas. He's looking for the next big idea, which he promptly kind of robs off a group of intellectuals in university and invents a product that actually you can outsource your unconsciousness to and all your memories to. So just think about it. And she brings us on a journey. She uses some of the characters that we last met in A Visit from the Goon Squad, her last book. So there's just huge amounts in it. And I mean, Jennifer Egan as a novelist, she can use, PowerPoint. She's even written a story completely in tweets. So she's very much at the cutting edge of the novel meets the internet. She's the one that can do it. She's pretty amazing. Also, she dated Steve Jobs. Back in the 80s in college. Okay. So I think, and he gave her a computer at some point. I read this New Yorker article about her. So I think she's somebody that can really engage with us as readers about the effect the internet and technology is having in our lives, and no more so at the moment with all that kind of fuss with Elon Musk having taken over Twitter. It's very much it's a novel of our time.
A novel of our time.
Yeah,
okay, so that
Candy House.
The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. Okay.
And she's Irish as well.
And when was that published, Anne?
January this year.
January of this year. Okay, brilliant. Next one, please.
I have to mention my good friend Kit Duvall's memoir.
Oh, yes.
It's beautiful. It is titled Without Warning and Only Sometimes. So Kit grew up in Birmingham. She was the daughter of a Wexford woman and a Caribbean father. So she experienced the extreme intensity and awfulness and racial stigmatization that would occur if you were, black and Irish. Okay. And then to add insult to injury, her mother decided that they were all Jehovah's Witnesses. So they lived every day as if it was their last. And, she just writes with fantastic humour and forgiveness about this upbringing that she had. Okay. She never read books at this point in her life. And it was later in life as she went on and she worked with children in that sphere, and especially kind of children who were in the adoptive services in the UK. So got married to Duvall. So obviously her name changed from Mandy O'Loughlin to Kit Duvall.
Okay.
And
second is kind of more of a book
name, isn't it? Yeah, and then she wrote, her first book was My Name is Leon, which this year was turned into a movie, and it's stunning. I mean, she's a woman of great empathy and ability and warmth, and she just has that kind of northern sass, but with a little bit of Irish too. She's on and Dingle today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I heard her interviewed on News Talk there a couple of months ago, and I remember thinking, God, I must read that book.
Yeah, and she came and stayed here a couple of years ago with me, and she just loved Kerry as well, and she's just fabulous. Yeah, she's amazing. So I think anybody would really enjoy, as a present to give this Christmas, scenes from an unpredictable childhood. And it just shows you that she survived it, as everybody does. Have to mention Bono's Surrender. Wasn't sure if I'd like it, and thank you very much to Penguin Books for sending it to me. I've loved it. I've been in bed with Bono now for the
Really?
last 10 nights. Yeah.
And how was
Don't
it?
tell Ali. Yeah, he's a really good writer, and whether you're a U2 fan or not, I think it's a must. He's obviously, there's a lot of name dropping. He's had an amazing life. He's had a huge influence on our culture. He's been, an activist, a rock star, and he's very self-deprecating as well. His relationship with Ali, I think the saddest bit was I didn't know these mother Iris had died when he was kind of very young.
Yeah.
He was only 11 or 12, and he feels that shaped him. He was then left in a very male, muscular, sad, very, very depressing kind of house without that light that his mother brought to everything. And he, in one piece in the book, he writes that he's met a lot of rock stars who lost a mother early, and that's what kind of he thinks makes them.
Formative. Okay, maybe
Whereas
they're
he
going out
said
looking for.
he might mean, he said rock stars
attention
usually
or-
lose their dad. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, it's kind of interesting. He knows the architecture of it as well, because 40 songs, so every chapter has a song as its title. So that was kind of ingenious, because nobody wants to read, a life story where it's I was born and now at this age. He's up there. It's gorgeous voice. I mean, I loved Sinead O'Connor's last year. I haven't quite finished it. I've 1 or 2 chapters to go, but he's got hilarious stories about Tony Blair and Bill Clinton. He's met them all. And very, very funny as well. Fantastic.
I'm a big fan of
and a real
him, so I'm
homage
definitely
to
gonna read
his
this.
friends. Yeah, I mean, he grew up in North Dublin like you did.
I did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just made it kind of bigger than me, but
Who knows?
I might get some
It's not over yet. Yeah, but
Surrender, 40 songs, Our
Story,
Story,
I think-
by Bono.
anybody would enjoy it as kind of a Christmas
Fan or
present.
non-fan?
Fan or non-fan.
Yeah.
And it just Vladimir. By,
I have to read this.
You have to read this. By Julia May Jonas. It's actually a debut, and it's so fantastic for a debut. You would never think that she's never written a novel before. It is probably one of the most erotic books I've read in a long time.
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in, definitely. So yeah, somebody describes it here as if Netflix The Chair, Lisa Tadea's bestseller, 3 women, and the most compelling passages of Moss Fegg's Death in Her Hands had a love child, it would be this fiction debut. So it leaves the reader with more questions than answers about sex and sexual politics. So Vladimir is a very, very sexy writer who comes to work at the university, where our female protagonist is a lecturer in her late 50s, and her husband is embroiled in a lawsuit with students over inappropriate behaviour. And then she kind of carves out, she kind of does a seduction, which is very interesting.
Okay.
And she just, I couldn't get enough of her. I really couldn't get enough of her. And I think it's on, I saw so many people have listed it as their book of the year. If you like Gone Girl, if you like something that really brings you on a journey, pacey, really pacey, but exquisitely, their writing, it's
Beautifully written.
Beautifully written, yeah. She's just a literary success. It's fantastic, very edgy. Brilliant stuff.
Brilliant.
Okay. I like books like this every now and again. I haven't finished it, but I'm a bit of a fan of Gabor Mate. Again, it's he's a medical doctor who's very interested in trauma and health and illness and healing. So this book is called The Myth of Normal, and what is normal, and discusses an awful lot about, goes into how our culture probably doesn't treat illnesses, holistically. Lots and lots of You Rattle My Brain, The Last Place You Want to Be. Yeah, definitely for, the intellectual or maybe the medic in your family. Really, really good read. Good read for everybody, because these are things we should increasingly think about. And trauma, illness and healing in a toxic culture.
Okay.
Okay? The Myth of Normal.
The Myth of Normal.
Normal is a myth.
Normal.
Are you normal?
I am not normal.
Are you normal?
You are definitely not normal. So,
I hope so.
okay.
Yeah,
I've
been trying hard anyway not to be too normal. Let me see. I decided this year that I was going to reread Ulysses, because it is its centenary year.
Okay.
And I bought this really lovely copy in Hodges Figgis when I was in Dublin in August. So I'm slowly doing it. I'm kind of sipping it like a fine wine. I'm going back in.
I've never seen you sip a fine wine.
No, that I glug.
Are you?
Yeah, slug. Yeah, down the hatch in one.
You're not glugging back Ulysses.
No.
Okay.
I'm sort of pretending that it's a kind of degustation, and I'm on,
to be slowly enjoyed.
To be slowly enjoyed. And, why not? And I mean, if you are, it's a difficult book. It is challenging. You can read it on so many different levels, but there's so many resources out there now. You've got WhatsApp groups, you've got online resources that kind of take you through the chapters. And he is it really when it comes to Irish literature. So it's definitely worth just going through it, just savouring it and enjoying it, and then afterwards I think your whole lot of people have a hang up about it. You know, it's over then, and you will have seen what it's probably the biggest book of the last 100 years.
I read the Dubliners because obviously it's a series of short stories. It's very accessible.
Yeah.
That's the only Joyce I have actually
And Portrait
read.
of the Artist is good too.
I haven't read that. No.
I mean, you know, you needn't read it to be a complete scholar, but you can just let the words wash over you and get a sense of what Dublin was like at the time, and then enjoy bits that are more accessible, like Molly Bloom's soliloquy.
Okay.
Like there's so many bits, and
beautiful cover.
Beautiful cover. Really liked it.
She, what's she? The Virgin at Hodges Figures window on Monday, looking in for one of the alphabet books you are going to write.
So that's okay. My next read isn't out in the shops yet, but I was very privileged to get a copy. It's the new Liz Nugent, and as we know, Liz is just brilliant at opening lines and writing the most kind of compelling, dark.
I loved Unraveling Oliver.
You loved, I did too.
It was one of my favourite books. Yeah,
so
it was brilliant.
This starts with Sally Diamond cannot understand why what she did was so strange. She was only doing what her father told her to do, to put him out with the rubbish when he died. So I think we'll all want to know what was going on in Sally Diamond's head.
Oh, definitely.
And that is coming out in January of this year.
January.
Yeah.
So it's not out for the Christmas market.
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's early January, but you know, January's a good time to read as well, and it will still be winter. So I haven't read it yet. I've just started it, and I'm putting it aside for my Christmas reading.
Okay.
When I curl up by the fire. My last one that I enjoyed this year is Iron Curtain. Lots of kind of Russian themes by Vesna Goldsworthy. Gorgeous. She's a fantastic writer, and it's really a story of East and West, a love story set in the 80s. And again, you know, there are probably parallels with now, and you know, Cold War. This is very much Cold War. So Rachel Cusk, who was another one of my literary heroines, she says about this book, Vesna Goldsworthy's masterly novel retains the grace and resilience of literary art while wading deep into the most riveting human drama. I loved it, and my friend's husband, John Fitzgerald, who's kind of very difficult to kind of please, that was on his list as well. He's a very bright man, and we both loved it. I think that's, you know, a love story kind of across the Iron Curtain.
Okay.
Fantastic. And it has lots of things to say about Eastern and Western cultures, and it's beautifully written. It's a joy.
Iron Curtain, a love story. I won't even pronounce the author's name. You've done it so
Vesna.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, Vesna.
Goldsworthy.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, I mentioned this last year.
You mentioned it. I actually, when I saw it on the table, and I said, "Gosh, Anne recommended that."
Yeah,
in your very first book review. Actually.
I did. Yeah. But again, we are heading into winter, and I think that's a lovely gift to give anybody going through a winter this year. That could be a winter of discontent on lots of levels. So it's a beautiful, gentle exploration of the dark season of life and the light of spring that eventually follows. I loved it, and it's all about the power of rest, because I mean, you do have to kind of mind yourself in this weather, and it's, you know, it's a fallow period, and enjoy that, and you know, kind of lean into the winter.
Listen, on that.
Lean into it, but it's beautiful.
Winter this one well.
I know,
we can
exactly.
Summer
Yeah.
Anywhere. Listen, Anne, thank you so much. So your last one is Wintering. It's by Catherine May. The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times.
Very much of our time. Yeah.
Thank you so
Orla.
much for walking
a long distance.
Down by the,
oh my God.
by the canal here in like -2 on this gorgeous day.
I mean, anything for books, isn't that it, for literature?
Books,
yeah, I would die for the love of literature. I know, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you. And it's quite a nice day.
Gorgeous. Let's go we'll go for a coffee and a walk.
Coffee and a walk now.
Maybe a quick pint on
Thank
the way
you.
home. Thank you. Have a great week.